You've been told that transformation should make noise, that change must be witnessed, documented, shared, and applauded. But the truth is quieter than that. The deepest rewrites of your reality occur when no one is watching, when silence becomes your cocoon, when invisibility becomes your alchemy. It's not the grand gestures that alter your destiny. It's the subtle internal rearrangements that happen in complete privacy, beneath language, beyond the gaze of others. Imagine walking through a room you've known your whole life, every wall familiar, every shadow predictable. Yet one day, your hand brushes against the surface, and you feel an edge, a line that wasn't there before. You press lightly, and a hidden mechanism releases. The wall pivots. Behind it, a passage, leading to an entirely new dimension of possibility. That, friend, is the invisible quantum shift. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't seek witnesses. It unfolds in whispers. Beneath awareness, your consciousness begins tuning to a new frequency. Your neurons, like tiny sparks of dawn, start forming new connections, each one a silent declaration that the old you is dissolving. Neuroscience calls this process neuroplasticity. Quantum physics calls it collapse of the wave function, the instant when potential becomes actual. You call it change, though the world may not yet see it. The universe itself models this mystery. Before measurement, a particle exists in superposition, all possibilities, hovering in delicate balance. Then, without spectacle, a single outcome crystallizes quietly, completely. The same occurs within you. Your potential selves shimmer beneath awareness until consciousness, your observation, your choice solidifies one into being. The transformation is instantaneous but never theatrical. And here lies the paradox that few are brave enough to face. Genuine change doesn't crave an audience. It requires coherence, the alignment of thought, emotion, and body into one unified signal. When that happens, the quantum field responds, not to what you say, but to who you've become. So the next time your mind demands proof, remember, silence is not absence. It's evidence in its purest form. Reality shifts quietly. The moment you stop needing anyone to notice, you may notice how easily we mistake visibility for value, how deeply we've been trained to equate noise with progress. From the moment you were old enough to be praised, you learned that change must be seen to be real, that if no one claps, the transformation didn't count. This conditioning runs deep, woven into every algorithm, every applause, every digital confession. We've turned evolution into exhibition. And yet beneath that craving for recognition, something quieter has always been working. A pulse that refuses to perform. You feel it when you're alone at night, when no screen glows, when no one is measuring your worth. That stillness within you, that's where the true transformation takes root. The unseen shift never needs permission. Our culture worships the announcement, the grand reveal, the before and after spectacle. But what if those loud declarations are often the echo of fear, the ego's last attempt to prove control before surrendering to metamorphosis? The desire to be seen is not wrong. It's simply outdated. It belongs to the version of you that believes existence must be witnessed to be validated. The truth is subtler. The universe itself doesn't broadcast its creations. Galaxies are born in silence. Stars collapse without applause. Evolution happens invisibly, beneath oceans, inside atoms, behind the curtain of perception. You are built from that same fabric. You are a quiet revolution dressed as a human life. Consider this: every time you post an update to prove you're evolving, you're sending energy outward, scattering coherence, fracturing the very field that's trying to stabilize around your new identity. The moment you seek to prove, you dilute the potency of your becoming. Because coherence, the most powerful state in both physics and consciousness, only thrives when energy is concentrated, not dispersed. This is why the greatest transformations happen privately, not in retreat from the world, but in rhythm with the invisible mechanics of it. The quantum field listens, not to declarations, but to vibration. It hears your coherence long before your peers do. When your inner state harmonizes, the field reorganizes, silently aligning probabilities to match your frequency. No applause necessary, but here's the paradox that humbles the seeker: the more invisible your transformation, the more irreversible it becomes. The public unveiling may feed the ego, but silence feeds the soul. And when the soul is fed, reality bends in your favor without struggle. You begin to notice subtle rearrangements, synchronicities, effortless openings, the quiet choreography of alignment. It's not that the outer world stops mattering, it simply stops dictating your evolution. Because once you discover that invisible power moves everything visible, the need for proof dissolves. You start to live as evidence instead of argument. And those around you, unable to pinpoint what's different, will still feel it, that new coherence radiating from you like gravity. So pause here, feel the weight of the performance melt. Feel what it's like to not have to prove anything to anyone. That's where the field meets you. In that exhale of honesty, the conditioning fades, and you stand uncloaked, aligned, and silent. From that quiet space where performance dissolves, something deeper begins to stir, the architecture of transformation itself. You might think silence is emptiness, but neuroscience suggests otherwise. In those still intervals where nothing seems to happen, your brain is conducting an invisible symphony. Neurons spark and connect in novel configurations, weaving fresh circuits of thought, emotion, and behavior. It's the biology of becoming, operating without spectacle. And yet, the same pattern unfolds in physics. Before observation, a particle lives in superposition, all possible states suspended at once. Then awareness enters, and the wave collapses into a single reality. The transformation is instantaneous, silent, and complete. The universe doesn't announce this shift, it simply is. What your brain does through neuroplasticity, the cosmos does through quantum mechanics, quiet reorganization that changes everything without noise. Consider how subtle this process really is. Each time you entertain a new thought or emotional state, you activate neurons that haven't fired together before. The connection is fragile at first, like a single thread spun in darkness. But repeat the pattern, pair it with feeling, and those filaments multiply. Eventually, a new highway of identity forms beneath consciousness. That's coherence in motion, invisible, yet indestructible. You might never feel the moment your brain rewires, just as you never hear an atom shift. But when enough silent construction has occurred, your perception alters effortlessly. What once triggered you no longer does. What once seemed impossible begins to flow. Reality didn't change. You did, and therefore, reality had to follow. Quantum scientists have long described the wave function collapse as non-local, happening everywhere and nowhere at once. Doesn't that sound like awakening, a moment so subtle it leaves no sound, yet reorganizes the entire field of your life? This is why spiritual traditions have always emphasized stillness. Silence isn't absence, it's the point of contact between consciousness and creation. Let's imagine this through metaphor. Picture a lake before dawn, surface glass still, reflecting the faintest light. Beneath, unseen currents swirl, preparing the day's new reflections. The stillness above doesn't deny the motion below, it allows it. Your silence functions the same way. It's the surface stillness that lets the deeper work unfold. And science, humble as it tries to be, is beginning to whisper agreement. Studies in neuroplasticity reveal that unseen micro-events inside your skull, tiny electrical dialogues between cells, precede every visible change in thought or behavior. These micro-events occur billions of times before you ever notice you've evolved. The shift always begins in the unseen. So when your mind demands proof that progress is happening, remember the pattern nature repeats everywhere emergence begins invisible. Every forest germinates underground. Every star ignites in darkness. Every thought reorganizes before it becomes belief. The silence you resist may actually be the construction site of your new reality. This is the paradox of science and spirit united, both describing the same truth through different languages. What is unseen is what is becoming. You don't need to hear it to trust it. You just need to remain coherent long enough for the invisible architecture to complete itself. Because once it does, life reintroduces itself through you as something entirely new, and it will feel, as quantum shifts always do, like it happened overnight. You can feel it, can't you? That subtle tension between your awakening and the world's demand for evidence. The mind whispers, show them, prove it, make it visible so they'll believe. But here's the paradox: the moment you chase proof, you fracture the very coherence that makes transformation real. The act of proving assumes doubt still lives within you. It's the echo of an older identity gasping for relevance. Imagine coherence as light concentrated through a lens. The tighter the focus, the brighter the flame. But every time you disperse energy toward external validation, that light diffuses, scattering into the noise of perception. The world might notice your performance, but the field, the quantum intelligence that organizes reality, responds only to your stability, not your speech, not your announcements, your signal. Think about the scientists observing particles. The instant they measure, the system changes, observation collapses the wave, potential narrows to a single result. In the same way, when you seek approval, you force the infinite possibilities of who you are becoming into a single confined definition, one the old self can understand. The shift loses its multidimensional depth, trading mystery for momentary applause. True transformation doesn't need witnesses. It needs integrity, the alignment of your unseen states. When your thoughts, emotions, and physiology converge into resonance, the field begins rearranging itself around you. That alignment doesn't scream, it hums. It's the quiet frequency of power that no one hears but everyone feels. And yet, most seekers stumble here. They feel the initial spark of inner change and rush to share it, desperate to anchor the experience through recognition. But that impulse, though innocent, often halts the deeper work. When you declare too soon, you expose a still fragile vibration to the turbulence of other minds. Doubt seeps in through well-meaning feedback, scattering the energy before it stabilizes. This is why ancient initiates guarded their revelations in silence, not out of secrecy, but out of sacred respect for coherence. They understood that each transformation required incubation time for the new frequency to settle into the nervous system, to become the body's new language before the world could hear it. The paradox is elegant: the quieter the shift, the louder its eventual manifestation. When the alignment completes itself internally, reality adjusts automatically. Circumstances bend, opportunities appear, relationships reorganize, not because you demanded change, but because you became change. Proof is not pursued, it emerges as residue. So ask yourself gently, what part of you still wants to be seen? What part believes recognition makes you real? That is the voice of separation, the residue of performance culture echoing through your cells. Let it soften. Let it dissolve. Because once you stop explaining your evolution, you start embodying it. And embodiment is the only language the quantum field truly understands. It translates vibration into geometry, coherence into coincidence. Every time you return to inner alignment without seeking acknowledgement, you strengthen the signal that shapes the visible world. The proof will come not as applause, but as inevitability. The shift becomes undeniable precisely because you stopped announcing it. Silence, then, is not the absence of evidence. It is the womb where evidence gestates. You may not yet see what's forming, but it's already breathing beneath the surface, waiting for the moment when your coherence has matured enough for reality to mirror it back. And when it does, it won't feel like effort. It'll feel like gravity, everything drawn effortlessly toward the frequency you've stabilized. That's the paradox of proof when you no longer need it. It finally arrives. And from that realization that proof arrives only when no longer chased something deeper, unfolds the question of who is doing the chasing. You see, transformation is never really about circumstances or outcomes. It's about identity, the quiet, unseen engine beneath every thought, emotion, and action. Every time you declare "I am," you send a signal through your nervous system that rewires your biology to match that declaration. Neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity, but mystics have long called it creation. The brain, like a sculptor working in silence, molds itself around the patterns of being you repeat most consistently. You think in one way long enough, and your neurons begin to mirror that self-image until belief becomes structure, and structure becomes reality. In the quantum field, identity functions much the same way. The observer doesn't just watch reality, it defines it. When you shift who you believe yourself to be, you change the frequency of your observation. The field reorganizes accordingly, not through magic, but through resonance. This is why wanting rarely manifests what you want. Desire operates from lack. Identity operates from coherence. You don't receive what you wish for, you receive what you are. That's why Neville Goddard spoke of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled not as fantasy, but as physics. When your emotions, thoughts, and body agree on a single identity, the signal stabilizes and reality bends to meet it. But here's the silent hazard: most people announce their evolution before it has stabilized. They proclaim, "I've changed," while still vibrating with the same frequencies that formed the old self. The declaration fractures coherence. The seed is dug up before roots can take hold. And so, the cycle repeats: new goals, new affirmations, same unconscious identity underneath. If you've ever wondered why transformation feels exhausting, this is why. You've been negotiating with your old self instead of simply ceasing to be it. Real change doesn't happen when you say you're different. It happens when the old emotional chemistry no longer runs your system. When the nervous system stops rehearsing survival and begins rehearsing creation. Neuroplasticity shows us this physically. Each time you respond to life differently, even slightly, you forge a new neural path. It's fragile at first, like a faint trail in an untraveled forest. Repeat it enough times in quiet consistency, and it becomes the main road. Eventually, the old pathways fade, overgrown by new growth. That is identity reformation in action, invisible, biological, irreversible. And yet identity doesn't shift through effort alone. It stabilizes through coherence, that precise harmony between thought, feeling, and embodiment. When those three sing the same note, the field listens. It doesn't need a speech, it recognizes the frequency. Ask yourself, who are you being when no one's watching? Because that is the version the universe responds to. The mask falls away in silence, revealing the vibration that actually shapes your life. So the invitation is simple: stop rehearsing struggle. Stop reaffirming the old identity through storytelling, memory, or explanation. Withdraw energy from what you were. Every time you resist defining yourself by the past, you free your neurons to reconfigure around a new reality. And in that stillness, that sacred anonymity where no one else can measure your progress, the invisible architecture of your next self begins to crystallize. Identity becomes not a mask, but a mirror, not something you perform, but something the field reflects. Because who you are being is the script reality reads. Change that silently, and the world will have no choice but to rewrite itself around you. From the quiet forging of identity arises a practice so simple, so unassuming, that the mind often overlooks it, the art of silent ritual. Not ritual in the sense of ornate ceremony or public devotion, but the kind you perform within the sanctuary of your body, unseen, unspoken, profoundly real. The body becomes the temple, the breath the priest, and coherence the offering. Consider breath. Every inhale gathers energy. Every exhale releases resistance. When performed consciously, this rhythm becomes a language, a dialogue between the nervous system and the quantum field. Inhale coherence, exhale chaos. Within minutes, measurable shifts occur. Your heart's rhythm smooths into harmony, your brainwaves synchronize, and the electromagnetic field of your body expands outward in radiant stillness. Science calls this heart-brain coherence. The ancients called it prayer. Both speak of resonance of frequency tuning itself to creation. But the secret of the silent ritual isn't complexity, it's constancy. A single breath repeated with presence carries more power than hours of noisy effort. You see, the field doesn't react to drama, it responds to stability. When your inner rhythm steadies, reality synchronizes around it, like planets adjusting to a new gravitational pull. You might sit in stillness before sleep, aligning breath with the feeling of your desired self already alive within you. That feeling, not words, not thought, but embodied sensation, is the signal the field decodes. In that quiet, neurons rewire, hormones rebalance, probabilities shift. The ritual appears invisible, yet it moves the architecture of reality itself. Why does this matter? Because ritual gives the nervous system a reference point. It trains your biology to remember coherence as its home frequency. When practiced in solitude, away from performance and expectation, it becomes a living instruction to the field. This is who I am now. The paradox of modern spirituality is that most seekers chase more affirmations, more techniques, more noise, forgetting that the field answers only to clarity. Silent ritual is the subtraction of interference. It's the art of removing everything that scatters your signal until only truth remains. The less static you transmit, the faster the universe replies. Think of the seed again buried, unseen, surrounded by darkness. It does not panic in its invisibility. It simply obeys the rhythm coded within it. That's what your silent ritual does. It aligns you with your inherent rhythm of becoming. The soil may not applaud, but the roots know exactly what's happening. Even science echoes this truth. Studies from the HeartMath Institute reveal that coherent emotional states create measurable electromagnetic patterns that influence surrounding systems. Translation: your invisible ritual ripples through space. The field listens not to your words, but to the vibration you sustain. So when you sit in silence, breathing with intention, you are not doing nothing. You are recalibrating the quantum instrument that is your body, attuning it to frequencies of peace, abundance, or healing. You are, in every sense, becoming the broadcast itself. Let's interrupt the pattern for a moment. Feel your breath right now, slow, deliberate. In through the nose, out through the mouth, Longer on the exhale, feel how reality begins to soften around that rhythm. This is coherence entering form. The world may not witness your practice, but it will feel its effects. People around you will sense something new, a calm gravity, an invisible resonance that needs no explanation. You will have become the proof you once chased. And that, friend, is the essence of silent ritual. No announcements, no ceremonies, just the quiet repetition of alignment until coherence becomes your native language. The field cannot ignore it. It harmonizes in kind. Soon, everything around you will begin to breathe with your rhythm. And as that rhythm steadies inside you, breath aligning with intention, emotion syncing with thought, something extraordinary begins to happen beyond your perception. The silent ritual does not stay contained. It radiates. Like a pebble dropped into still water, coherence expands outward in ripples that touch everything connected to you. You may think this effect is metaphorical, but physics and psychology whisper the same secret. Coherent energy fields influence other systems without physical contact. The HeartMath studies, quantum resonance, Rupert Sheldrake's morphic fields all hint at the same hidden mechanism. When you stabilize your frequency, the field around you reorganizes to match it, not through force, through resonance. You've felt this before. You enter a room where someone is calm, grounded, at peace, and your own nervous system softens in response. That's coherence acting non-locally, the invisible ripple at work. When you practice silent alignment, you become that stabilizing signal for everyone and everything in your orbit. Here's the paradox: you may never know the extent of your influence. You'll never see every ripple's destination, yet the field does not lose a single wave. It carries your coherence across relationships, conversations, even probabilities. This is how the unseen becomes collective, how private evolution seeds public transformation. Consider how the tuning fork functions. Strike one, and another across the room begins to vibrate in sympathy, even though no one touched it. This is entrainment resonance finding resonance. Your consciousness does this constantly, sending out frequencies that others unconsciously attune to. When your vibration steadies in coherence, you become the pacer for your environment. Reality synchronizes to you. This is why inner work matters more than persuasion. You can argue endlessly to change someone's mind, or you can embody a state that makes their resistance dissolve without words. The field doesn't need your explanation, it needs your stability. When you emanate calm certainty, others feel it as permission to relax into truth. That's the silent influence of a coherent being. But the ripple is not instantaneous, like waves traveling to a distant shore. It takes time for coherence to reshape outer patterns. This delay tricks the ego into doubt. It believes nothing is happening because results are not visible yet. But the wave is already moving, adjusting timelines, reordering connections, weaving new paths beneath awareness. Imagine it this way: each aligned breath is a signal sent into the quantum sea. It travels outward, unseen, until it meets receptive energy, another mind, another opportunity, another chain of probabilities. Then, without ceremony, it reorganizes circumstances in your favor. What looks like coincidence is simply coherence completing its circuit. This explains why, when you truly shift within, life rearranges without effort. People who once challenged you soften. Doors that once refused to open swing wide. Opportunities arrive that feel divinely timed. You didn't command these events, you resonated them into alignment. The ripple took care of the rest. And here lies the beauty of the silent ripple. It teaches you to trust without control. You no longer need to monitor or measure your impact. You know the signal is moving. You know the field is listening. All that's required is consistency, holding the vibration until the wave returns as form. So take a breath now. Feel how even this moment vibrates beyond you, the air shifting, the atoms aligning, the unseen field responding to your coherence. This is influence without effort, power without performance. The kind of transformation that leaves no visible trace of origin, yet alters everything it touches. Because the silent ripple doesn't announce, it remembers. It carries your signal across the invisible web connecting all things, ensuring that what you embody in stillness becomes what the world eventually mirrors in motion. From those ripples moving outward, a deeper pattern emerges, not metaphor, but mechanism. What the mystics have intuited for centuries, physics is only beginning to articulate. Resonance is not poetry, it's a law. When two systems vibrate at compatible frequencies, they begin to synchronize, exchanging energy until coherence dominates chaos. You see this in pendulum clocks that eventually swing in unison, or in heart cells beating together when brought into proximity. The universe prefers harmony. The field always moves toward order. Now imagine your consciousness as one such oscillator, a living tuning fork within the quantum fabric. Every emotion you sustain, every thought you repeat, emits a frequency into the field. When coherence stabilizes inside you, it creates what scientists call a standing wave, a pattern of energy that holds its shape in time and space. The more stable your inner rhythm, the more other systems, people, events, even probabilities begin to entrain to it. Reality starts to hum in tune with your being. And here's where it becomes extraordinary. Experiments in quantum biology have revealed that coherence can persist even in warm, wet systems, like the human body conditions once thought too chaotic for quantum effects. Your cells, it turns out, are capable of sustaining quantum order. In moments of deep coherence meditation, gratitude, alignment, your biology becomes a bridge between matter and potential, transmitting a signal into the field that literally reorganizes probability. This isn't mysticism, it's resonance. The same principle that causes one violin string to sing when another is plucked now scales up to the level of consciousness itself. Your inner state is an instrument in the orchestra of existence, and when it plays in tune, the cosmos responds. But here's the part most seekers miss: resonance requires steadiness. You can't strike one note of coherence and then drown it in hours of dissonance. The field cannot harmonize with inconsistency. The signal must be held. Just as a sustained note transforms sound into music, sustained coherence transforms potential into reality. So when people wonder why their manifestations fade, why breakthroughs slip away, the answer is simple: the frequency wavered. They stopped playing the note. They let distraction pull them off key. The field, ever precise, reflected the change back instantly. The invitation, then, is not to strive harder, but to sustain longer, to let your daily rituals, your breath, your stillness, anchor the frequency until coherence becomes identity. Once you reach that threshold, the field locks on. It entrains to you. Life begins to arrange itself around your steadiness. Consider those moments when time seems to stretch, when synchronicities multiply, when conversations flow effortlessly. That's resonance expressing itself through experience. You've tuned so precisely to your desired frequency that the outer world cannot resist aligning with it. The field has found stability, and stability is irresistible. You've probably felt it with certain people, the ones whose presence calms rooms without a word, who seem to carry gravity. They're not projecting force, they're radiating resonance. Their coherence pulls everything nearby into gentle alignment. This is the quiet authority of one who no longer performs. The master doesn't announce, they simply are, and the universe tunes itself accordingly. So now, Imagine what happens when you maintain that state day after day: coherent heart, coherent mind, coherent breath. You become a living, standing wave in the quantum field. Reality, drawn by the law of resonance, organizes around you with mathematical precision. It looks like luck to others, like grace, but it's physics disguised as poetry. And here's the revelation that completes this section: resonance doesn't chase results. It creates conditions where results are inevitable. Hold your frequency long enough, and what you once sought begins seeking you. That is the physics of consciousness, the quiet science of miracles that never needed to be called miraculous at all. After resonance has begun to shape your world, a strange stillness follows. It feels like pause, like waiting, like nothing is moving. But don't be deceived. This is what I call the silent gap, the invisible interval between the moment coherence stabilizes within you and the moment the world catches up. It's the unseen bridge between frequency and form, and it tests almost everyone. In this gap, the mind begins to doubt. It whispers, "If transformation were real, wouldn't I see proof by now?" Yet beneath that uncertainty, the field is already at work, adjusting probabilities, rearranging trajectories, synchronizing events. The delay isn't punishment, it's precision. It takes time for dense matter to respond to subtle energy. Think of planting a seed. Once the soil closes over it, the surface appears unchanged. Days pass, maybe weeks, and nothing seems to happen. But beneath, roots are threading through darkness, seeking stability before the first shoot dares to rise. The same is true for you. During the silent gap, invisible roots of your new identity anchor deep into the fabric of reality. Most people abandon their coherence right here. They dig up the seed, searching for signs. They mistake stillness for stagnation and restart the cycle of performance, trying to make something happen. But mastery is knowing that silence is still movement, just movement too subtle for your senses to register. Quantum physics mirrors this perfectly. The moment after a wave collapses, there's a recalibration, particles adjusting their relationships, energy redistributing through the field. To the untrained eye, nothing happens. To the universe, everything does. The gap is the recalibration of the cosmos around your new signal. This is why patience isn't passive, it's participatory. Holding coherence through apparent delay strengthens the vibration until it becomes unshakable. Your only task is to keep playing the note, to breathe, to trust, to remain aligned. The field hears consistency as confidence. It's not listening for effort, it's listening for steadiness. And here's the subtle truth. The gap is proof that the shift has already begun. Silence wouldn't exist if the field weren't reorganizing. It's the echo of motion at a frequency too high to translate into visible form, like a dog hearing tones beyond human perception. The fact that you sense stillness means the reordering is underway. So what do you do in the silent gap? You nurture coherence. You become the environment your new reality needs to take root in. Gratitude helps not as a tactic, but as resonance maintenance. Gratitude tells the field, I recognize the unseen work already happening, and that recognition multiplies coherence exponentially. Imagine a musician holding a note through the longest pause in the song. No sound, yet the melody continues, suspended in potential. That's you in the gap. The orchestra of existence is tuning itself to your pitch. Break coherence too soon, and the music resets. Hold it long enough, and the next movement begins perfectly in key. The silent gap is where faith evolves into physics. You're no longer hoping, you're participating in the recalibration of reality. You're allowing time, which is only the mind's way of measuring unfolding, to translate vibration into structure. The universe doesn't rush, it refines. And then, when coherence fully anchors, something miraculous happens. External reality suddenly shifts. Almost overnight, what seemed immovable rearranges with uncanny precision. Others call it coincidence, but you'll know the truth. The wave you sustained in silence finally reached the shore. So if you find yourself in the quiet, uncertain stretch where nothing seems to move, celebrate. You've entered the laboratory of becoming. You're in the sacred interval where potential hardens into proof. The silence is not delay, it's gestation. It's the pulse of creation between breaths, the moment when everything invisible prepares to reveal itself. Hold your note. The world is already listening. And from that gap, that sacred pause where silence breathes between the old and the new, you emerge changed. Not because the world finally mirrored your transformation, but because you no longer needed it to. This is embodied sovereignty, the state in which you stop negotiating with reality and start emanating it. The moment you realize you are not waiting for proof, you are the proof. Most people misunderstand sovereignty. They think it means control, domination, immunity from pain, but real sovereignty is gentler, quieter. It's coherence that no longer flinches. Its identity stabilized so deeply that circumstance loses its authority over your inner weather. You become the stable frequency around which chaos reorganizes itself into harmony. When you reach this stage, you stop performing for approval. You stop seeking confirmation that you've changed. The nervous system has been rewired. The old emotional programs no longer hold power. Neuroplasticity has completed its work. New circuits dominate, transmitting a frequency of quiet confidence that the field cannot ignore. You are, quite literally, broadcasting a new reality through your biology, and that's when the paradox completes itself. The silence that once felt empty now overflows with presence. You feel the quantum field not as theory, but as texture, a living pulse inside your body, responsive to your every coherent thought. Your mind and heart move as one. You no longer visualize from desire. You observe from embodiment. The thing you sought has already found you because you became the space in which it exists. This is why all great mystics spoke of being still and knowing. Stillness is not inaction. It's the highest action possible, total alignment between will, awareness, and reality. When you enter that state, manifestation ceases to be an act. It becomes a reflection. Life mirrors coherence automatically, in sovereignty. Even waiting dissolves. There's nothing to wait for when you understand you are the field in human form. You begin to move differently, slower, deliberate, intentional. Words become fewer. Your presence does the speaking. People feel you before you say anything. That's because your coherence has become gravitational. It organizes space. And perhaps the most profound realization of all arrives here. You don't need to teach this state, you transmit it. The field learns through resonance, not explanation. Your coherence silently invites others to remember their own. You become, without effort, a tuning fork for collective evolution. Every act, every breath, every gaze contributes to the quiet recalibration of the whole. So how do you live sovereignty daily? Not by declaring mastery, but by honoring subtlety. You maintain ritual. You breathe with awareness. You listen more than you speak. You respond rather than react. You choose presence over performance, coherence over control. And the world, sensing this frequency, begins to move differently around you. Obstacles dissolve quietly. Synchronicities multiply. But more importantly, you no longer measure success by those external rearrangements. The victory is internal. You are no longer fragmented. You are whole. This is the final paradox. The less you strive to prove your evolution, the more reality reorganizes to confirm it. The quantum field. loyal to vibration, bows to consistency. Sovereignty is simply coherence held long enough to become identity. So, friend, as you stand at the end of this exploration, feel the quiet power in your chest. Feel how stillness hums like a star before it shines. That hum, that steady, invisible rhythm is you. And when you walk through the world from this state, you'll find that creation no longer requires effort. You speak less, yet everything listens. You plan less, yet everything aligns. You perform nothing, yet everything unfolds. This is embodied sovereignty, not the roar of authority, but the whisper of alignment, the mastery of being so coherent that the universe itself moves in your rhythm. And when the noise of the world tempts you to prove again, return here, breathe, remember the silence that made you, because all true power begins and returns to that quiet. From this place of sovereignty, there is no grand finale, no fireworks, just the steady rhythm of breath, the reminder that silence was never the absence of sound, but the presence of order. The journey circles back to where it began, the invisible space where transformation takes root. Pause here. Feel the air move through you. Notice how even this breath carries memory of the moments you doubted, the stretches where nothing seemed to move, the silent gap that tested your trust. Every stage has been preparation for this, not to chase coherence, but to become it. You understand now that change never required announcement. It required permission, your own. The world didn't have to validate your becoming. It only had to receive it once your signal stabilized. Reality, patient and precise, always waits for alignment before revealing proof. And you, finally, have learned to trust that process. This silence you carry is not fragile. It hums beneath noise, beneath conflict, beneath the shifting stories of daily life. You could stand in chaos and still feel it, that low, constant frequency whispering, you are the field itself. That awareness is what the ancient mystics meant by peace beyond understanding. So as the external world continues its performance, you walk differently through it. You listen before speaking. You sense before acting. You don't try to influence, you resonate. Others might call it calm, presence, authority, but you'll know it's simply coherence embodied. Let this be your quiet practice now. Each morning, return to your breath, that simplest of rituals. Inhale coherence, exhale control. Let the heart and brain fall back into rhythm. Let the field, faithful as gravity, adjust itself around your steadiness. And when doubt rises, when the mind tries to measure, to prove, to announce, smile inwardly. Remember that the invisible always precedes the visible. The whisper always precedes the thunder. You've learned to trust the unseen currents moving beneath experience. That trust is the mastery you came here for. If you choose, carry one phrase with you as you close this listening. I transform silently while reality shifts. Let it live not as affirmation, but as truth remembered, because in the end, the secret passage was never hidden. It was the doorway of awareness itself opening quietly, waiting patiently, revealing that you were never separate from the field you sought to influence. You were the frequency all along. So walk softly now with that knowledge humming in your cells. Speak less, observe more, align, and let the wave unfold. The proof will come as it always does, effortlessly, inevitably, beautifully. You don't need to make reality move. You only need to become still enough for it to recognize you.